get my head into head pointing, I think it's different than on sighting. I think with head pointing, you practice the moves, you kind of know you know what you've got to do, you know you've got to piece them together, climb them, you know, efficiently, obviously without falling off, because you could be in a really dangerous situation. So to prepare for that, I just focus on the moves and focus on the route kind of all the time, like when you're at home at night sleeping, or
so that helps you thinking about it when you're not actually at the crag.
Yeah, it's kind of, it takes over it almost takes over your life. So the only thing you can focus on is those moves, that situation, how you feel in that situation, what, you know, how you're going to be in that dangerous situation.
So you're imagining all the things that could go wrong and how you could deal with them when you're not actually at the crag.
Exactly, yeah, just like it almost the kind of, you know, everyday life stuff gets put to one side, and this becomes, you know, kind of an obsession, and you just focusing on how those moves are, even if you haven't quite maybe linked them all together. You can, each move, you know where your foot's going to go, you know what position your body needs to be in, and you just kind of rehearsing it over and over and over and over and over in your head. And
so you know when you did appointment with Death, now obviously it's a dangerous route.
Yeah.
Did you just wait? Did you find that you come to the end of that process, that you thought through all the things that could happen, and then you were ready for it, or did you have to go through a special cycling up thing that day, or did you just wake up and think, I can do it today?
It was, I think it was a combination of a few things. I'd been on the climb, and I tried the moves, and kind of knew what I had to do, and how I'd piece them all together. And I think I just needed like a couple of weeks almost, just of preparation to think, well, I've just got to do it now.
Right.
I've just got to be in the right frame of mind, and that might take a week, or might take 2, or even longer. So I think it was about 2 weeks, and then I went back up to the climb to, you know, to have a go on it and think, I feel good. I thought, you know, the conditions felt good, and when I had a practice on the climb just to see how it felt, everything felt a bit different. Something clicks sometimes where the holes feel bigger or different to the felt before.
Yeah.
And the day I did appointment with Death, the holes they felt bigger than they'd ever had done before, and I was like, right, this is it. And I still hadn't linked it on a top rope, so I'd just done it in sections, but I thought, this is the time, it's never going to feel any better than this. And then I just had to psych up for it. And then before you do a hard head point, I always find to go and have a bit of a walk away from everybody, you know, around the corner, and just kind of, you know, convincing yourself that you're going to do it, convincing yourself that you'll be alright, and that you can, you know, the adrenaline's pumping through your body. You're kind of very excited, but you're also very nervous, and it's only when you pull onto the route that them nerves go. I find personally, the nerves don't really kick in until after the climb, or, you know, they're really strong before. I don't know if other people find that, you know, before doing a dangerous head pull, you know, you get nervous, you go to the loo all the time, you know. That's what I find, you know. I feel so nervous and like pumped up inside that I have to get fully in the zone.
So to deal with that, you take a step away from everybody, and you just gather your thoughts. Can you consciously feel your heart rate going down when you do that, or your adrenaline? Is it still surging through?
Surging through, yeah. It's really, that bit's really hard to get rid of. It only really goes when you pull. When I pull on.
Yeah.
When I pull on, and then you're like, right, now you've got to do it.
Yeah. I've heard you say before when you're climbing, when I've seen you trad climbing, that you say that you're trying to find your happy place.
Yeah.
Because I've certainly seen that when you're on sighting.
Yeah.
Is it the same thing with the head pointing, or what is the happy place? How do you know when you're in it? What is it?
I think it's more when you're controlled, you're focused, and you're climbing in that kind of zone. You know where you don't know what's going on around you quite as much, and you're not really nervous, you're not thinking about falling off or anything. That kind of happy place is where you just...
Is that something that you'll just find one day, or do you build that over a period of time?
I think you build it up, I think, definitely. I think with head pointing, you have to do a few head points, easier head points to get you confident in that frame of mind. you can't just turn it off. You can't just like, right, I'm going to go out and do an E9 tomorrow. You know, because your body, your brain wouldn't let you do it. I don't think.
So what about if you were on sighting then? Is it the same?
It's similar, yeah. But I think with on sighting, you've got to build it up even more. You've got to be prepared to deal with things that you don't know about. And the only way of doing that is kind of doing more on sighting. So I think if I was to do more when I was climbing, climbing while on site, I'd been doing E5, E6, whatever, E4, E2, E3. You're building up through the grades into building up that confidence so that you know what to deal with, or it's almost like building that repertoire of moves, so that whatever move you come across, you generally know how to do it. Or
have you ever had a particular route that you've wanted to on-site that, like your head point, you've been thinking about for weeks and you go through the same process again there?
Yeah, it's not as intense, but because there's more factors to kind of take into consideration. You're kind of not sure what the holes are going to be like, or how the moves are going to feel. So you're kind of anticipating what position you might, how you might feel.
Yeah.
So I think for on-site, if you want to on-site a route and you've had it in your mind, you kind of mentally trying to picture what it looks like and how the moves might climb. But when you climb it, you've got to be prepared that it might not be it might not be the same. So then you've got to deal with it in your brain.
Yeah.
And obviously not thinking about falling off, not thinking about that, just thinking positively all the time. And, keeping yourself in that positive frame of mind.
Bad days?
Yeah, I think everybody does.
Yeah.
Yeah, days where you expect to do something, you think to yourself, I should be able to do this, but that's just climbing,
And what do you do when that happens? What do you do about it?
Try and forget about it really. Try and go do something else, have a rest. Usually it's because you're tired and probably done a bit too much, or you just need a bit of a break. So a few days off, 2 or 3 days off, and go back to it fresh.
Yeah.
And that generally makes a big difference.